All right, so welcome to the Sunlighten M Pulse. This is unlike any other sauna review that I've done. This isn't a formal review, just my opinion. I want to show you that the sauna is operational. It's been a few minutes. I was letting it heat up a little bit. And I am in clothes, jeans, and shoes, which is very unusual. I've always thought it was really funny when people send me like sauna comparison videos, and the guy is either at the factory or at a dealership where they have the sauna, but he's never actually used it. He's never owned one. And the way that you can always tell is because the guy's always in jeans. He's always dressed well. He's always got shirt and shoes on. It's like every sauna review, every video that the dude has ever done, or dudes who are, there's a bunch of people that do this. They've never owned or used the product. They just travel to the factory and then do a quick little promo video, do an EMF meter thing with a crappy, $100 Amazon EMF meter, and then they call it a day, and they recommend that sauna. So I've always thought that was funny. So it's funny to me to see myself on camera. This is the very first time I've ever been in a sauna in jeans and shoes, and not. I don't feel bad about it because I used the sauna a whole bunch a couple of years ago. So, but it is definitely funny to me. So one of the most asked about saunas over the last couple of years has been the Sunlighten M Pulse. A lot of people say, "Hey Matt, why don't you have review videos up? You say the EMF levels are too high, or you like Sunlighten build quality, but you just don't think that the electric fields are mitigated enough, or it just doesn't test well compared to the other things, but I don't see review videos of you in it, but you say that you used it, blah, 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 blah." All valid questions. Here's the thing. Back in 2017, when I was paying at a health spa to use an infrared sauna, the very first sauna that I ever used before I tried any other sauna, before I bought one for myself, was a Sunlighten M Pulse at a health spa. I was driving 20 minutes one way just to use this thing. It was pretty expensive. It was like $45 a session, I believe, unless you bought a pack of 10. And, at that time, I wasn't making sauna videos. I didn't really know that much about different sauna brands. I wasn't sharing what I was testing for myself with anyone on YouTube or anywhere, really. So when I get it. I've said, in the past, if I don't have proof of the Sunlighten M Pulse, EMF levels, you'll just have to trust me on that one. And it's because I took a couple cell phone videos way back when, but I wasn't really like documenting stuff. I didn't really have a fleet of EMF meters. I hadn't tried, 10 or 20 other saunas. I didn't really have anything to compare it to. I was just checking it for me. And so I didn't write down any of the magnetic field measurements or whatever. So people have asked, well, how high is it? Is it like 7.2 or is it, what? And I just didn't have that. So in the last few weeks, I was traveling and I happened to have a Tri-Field TF2 with me. And I happened to go back to the very same place that I first used an infrared sauna, which was kind of a cool trip down memory lane. And I used the exact model that I was paying to use before. And I took some videos. Now, this isn't like a proper review. We're not comparing this sauna has 2.6 milligauss and another sauna has 2.3. And, this is not a formal review. This is just my opinion. And this is also just so many people have asked about this. I had the opportunity to do it, so I thought I would shoot it for you guys and then just kind of go through and discuss. Now, I might say, maybe I'll edit it out and just tell you about it here because it'll be a little bit more professional. There's a few things about Sunlighten M Pulse claims that I have never liked, and I've always said that they're kind of like bullshit. And part of it is the 3-in-1 thing, or the full spectrum deal. Now, when I was paying to use this sauna, and it was supposed to be full spectrum or whatever, they've got these little near-infrared light arrays behind the grill. That's problem number one. You do not put near-infrared therapy behind anything that blocks it in contact with the skin. It's very different than far infrared. I would argue that you would probably not get much benefit from near-infrared therapy if you were wearing clothes, and the converse is true with infrared sauna. You will still sweat if you're wearing clothes in a far infrared sauna. This is why I have always said that a far infrared is really the key to an infrared sauna working. Forget about the full spectrum stuff. Forget about if it has a near infrared. Focus on the far first so that you can actually sweat and produce the results that you're looking for. Now, the reason why I have my opinion has been, this is not like a hater video. I still think that Sunlighten M Pulse saunas are some of the best cabinet build quality in the industry. They're very well made. Their company culture, like I've said before, is not geared toward mitigating electric fields. It's not geared toward low body voltage saunas. It's not geared toward getting the magnetic fields below a certain threshold. And as you're going to see in this video, they're pretty damn high. And so I understand that, marketing can be very convincing and yada, yada, yada. I think this video will be pretty eye-opening to a lot of people. It'll pretty much take you on a bird's eye tour or a bird's eye view tour through this sauna model and basically show you exactly what I've been saying for the last couple of years. I know I didn't have, this before, which I probably should have. I just wasn't sharing sauna content back then. I was just checking it for myself. So I'm going to probably say a couple of controversial things in this video. There's a couple things that have really irked me about this particular sauna ever since I used it. I'm going to take the grills off. Most people don't do this, but you're going to see why I've been so against the whole full spectrum thing from a lot of companies. Some of them implement and portray it in different ways, but in this particular model, what always irritated the hell out of me was that you really only have two tiny little arrays in this sauna. You're about to see it in the video. They make you believe through the marketing and through everything else that, the sauna is loaded with near infrared. When you take it apart and you see that there's only two little sections, like if you don't sit on one particular side in one particular spot of the sauna, you're literally going to get zero near infrared therapy. And if you couple that with one of the things that no one has talked about is a lot of these saunas have particular modes. There's like a fancy LCD screen and you pick a mode before you start. One of the things is it's cycling the near infrared therapy. So if you do a 30-minute session, you don't have 30 minutes of near infrared. I'll explain it to you in a minute, but just want to put some context to this. This isn't a hater video. This is just me going back, taking you inside the very first sauna that I used, showing you, exactly what I've been talking about. So let's dive in. All right, so now I'm in the sauna room. I'm just basically giving a tour of I'm kind of laughing actually about the near, mid, and far thing. We'll see that later when I take the grills off and show you guys. But, I guess I'm going to do it right now. So that little tiny array right there is the near infrared array behind the grill. And it's really only behind these two panels. I thought I did this at the end, but maybe I mixed the clips up. The rest of the sauna doesn't really have any near infrared in it. There's no near infrared arrays. There are just far infrared heaters. And so they one of the things that I've always disliked is that they kind of make it seem like the sauna is, loaded with this stuff, and it's really just not. Just wanted to demonstrate that the build quality is really good. There's like 3/8 to half-inch glass on these. The paneling is usually 3/4. It's solid. It's, it's a beautifully made sauna. I have always liked the build quality, so definitely not just hating on the brand altogether. Just would like to see the EMF levels a little bit lower. So I'm going to take you inside the sauna here. Got a couple EMF meters. Went ahead and left that off. The sauna is operational. These do take a long time to preheat, so it's only at 115 degrees right now. One of the things, let me just pause this really quick. If you are going to go to a place and rent a sauna session, a lot of times people will, well, let me just give some context. A lot of times people ask for comparisons about certain saunas, and it's not that I brush them off. It's just that when you're going and paying to use a sauna and you don't have it in your house, and people are using that experience just one time, not like a bunch of times, to compare one sauna brand to another, I think what a lot of people don't realize is their experience isn't necessarily indicative of the performance of that particular sauna. The staff at the facility makes a huge difference. So the times that I've used a Sunlighten M Pulse, which is about 12, I paid for 12 sessions or so before I, decided that I didn't want to drive across town and it was worth to buy, one of my own. That's kind of like what set me on a quest to figure out, what's a better value. I don't want to pay all this money, and I just want the benefit, I want the nuts and the bolts of what delivers 80% of the results, because all this gadgetry and all this other, 20% really isn't going to make that much of a difference. It's going to be marginal at best. One of the things that I struggled with is the staff at facilities, because if you go in for your session and they don't have the sauna preheated on time, it takes forever for one of these to heat up. If they put it on the wrong cycle, so like you can choose between cardio, relaxation, all this stuff, it's got different modes, that changes how hot the sauna gets, how it does its cycling, the length of the session, like all this stuff, the intensity. And so if they screw that up, as a beginner, if I would have gone there and I didn't realize, or I didn't do a whole bunch of sessions, I would have never known that. I would have just said, oh, the sauna sucks, and I would have never gone back. Well, when I went the first day and it was good, and then I went the third time and it was terrible, and the lady's like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to preheat it before you came in. I wouldn't know that. I would just think, oh, this is how hot the sauna gets. So be very careful when you're doing, or when you're reading reviews or thinking about comparisons or taking information from people's experiences that have been at the mercy of a facility or something. Because the people that run the spa, or this was a float tank place, the people that work there, they know nothing about saunas. They know how to use the little control panel and turn it on and then lock you out of it so you can't change anything, because it's like, you know, you're paying to rent the sessions or whatever. But if they screw up, it ruins your sauna session. If they fail to mark off your appointment an hour ahead of time, your sauna is just going to start getting really hot. If it's one of these, it's going to start getting really hot at the end of your session. So you're going to have, you know, a skewed viewpoint as to what it should really be like. So, okay, tangent over. Let's get back into this. So in this video, I've got the grill off. I'm basically just looking at the sauna. The Sunlighten heaters are very different than others. They're almost like a thin foil material, and pretty much no other sauna company right now in 2020 is really using those type of far infrared heaters. But I'm just going to do a quick little sweep. You can see that, you know, right up against the heaters, obviously a couple inches away, it's going to drop off a little bit. But we go anywhere from 40 milligauss to a solid, you know, 10 or 15. I've told people in the past that, you know, at the bench, it's anywhere from 4 to 6 to 12 to 15. It just depends how big it is. You know, a 4-person model is obviously going to measure a little less at the center of the bench because everything is farther away. This happens to be a 2-person Sunlighten M Pulse. And now we're going to switch over and just take a look at the electrical fields. Electric fields of about 1,000 volts per meter will generate anywhere from 23,000 millivolts to about 27,000 millivolts of body voltage. So I didn't have a voltmeter handy. There's also some type of pulsing going on in this sauna. I don't know if there's something in the floor, because it does have a floor heater. There was some type of a module in the center. I think I show that later in the video, but generally when you do a lot of these measurements, they're very consistent. They don't jump. But for this particular sauna, I don't know what type of a pulsing thing they have in there, but it shows on the meter. But anyway, so it's just, you know, it's a very well-built sauna. It's very interesting how they do the near-infrared array. Not something that I would choose, but let's, so just, I dropped the camera. Just checking under the floor to make sure everything's the same. It's been a long time since I've looked at this exact one. There's some type of a module in there. I can't remember what it is. I used to know, but when you stand directly over that and then you are taking measurements, it causes some type of a pulsing on the meter. This is very unique. That doesn't usually happen in most saunas that I test, but just if somebody's really paying attention, you'll definitely notice. The cabin is really nice. I was trying to show a bird's eye view underneath, but just couldn't quite get it with the low light. But this is what I was talking about. So the entire left side, the entire front left, rear left of the sauna doesn't have any near infrared. So people that think that they're getting like all this, you know, full spectrum and yada 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 from a lot of the saunas is really just, you know, fancy marketing. We're just checking electric fields again. Again, you can see that it's bouncing, which is extremely rare. If I let go of the meter, or if I don't stand over the heater that's in the floor, it definitely stops doing that. I don't know what that is. I wouldn't say that it's, you know, harmful or beneficial. I'm just acknowledging that there's some really crazy things going on with the meter. And so, you know, there's a decent amount of electric fields in this sauna. It's not even close to the thresholds that you would see to make it on the Certified Sauna List. So that's pretty much it. They're just taking some regular magnetic field readings, some electric field readings, checking out all the stuff. Again, I think they've improved this. I think there's more near-infrared arrays in the sauna now, but as you can see, you know, back in the day, I thought it was kind of scammy and kind of, you know, incredibly misleading to say that there's all this near-infrared in the sauna, and there's really only, you know, a couple lights behind 2 panels on one side of the sauna. So just checking electric fields, checking magnetic fields again, pretty much the same old stuff that I always do. We'll fast forward here. That's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, I think this will take care of most of the questions, but if I missed something or there's something else that you'd like to see, let me know, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video.